prostrating to my beloved Master, and hence all of you remembering their own ocean of compassion which goes by the name Guru, let us start this wonderful monthly session in right earnest with the blessings of our beloved Guru and Bhagavan Sri Krishna. A lovely system of knowledge application and being called non-violent communication or compassionate communication as they call it. In that they explore the relationship between the way we communicate with others and way we talk to ourselves also. The self-talk is what we call as thoughts. What we tell ourselves is the thoughts. And the talk or the communication which we do with others basically stems from a large part, if not entirely, from our self-talk, which is thoughts become words. Many times we say, unthinkingly or without thinking, I just harshly spoke with you, etc. But technically it's not possible. When a thought comes, that translates it into a word. That's an Upanishad axiom, that it's thoughts which becomes words. When we say unthinkingly or without much thought I spoke, etc., it means that I didn't employ the faculty of intellect, or what we call as Vivekam, which is the topic today. The loose translation on a mundane plane for Vivekam is what Stephen Covey and other Western thought leaders have very beautifully expressed as responsibility, right? The ability to respond separates humans from the rest of the species, from the other animals. And our Shastras say it is Vivekam which makes human as a human. It is Vivekam which shows us the path of Dharma. Dharma means I apply my proper gift of responsibility to make right choices in my words, actions, and thoughts. And so here, when we say Vivekam, that's what leads to Dharma. And Mahabharata very emphatically says, Dharme nahina pasubish samana. If we are devoid of Dharma, which roots from responsibility or Viveka, we are no different from other animals. It is not something which is, harsh words. It's a matter of fact. That which separates our humanness from others is this wonderful gift given by Bhagavan, the gift of Vivekam, which currently psychologists call it in a very loose, very, external way or in a mundane plane, responsibility. We have the ability to respond. We are not helpless in the sense that we can choose how we respond. When we unthinkingly do something, it is called reaction, right? We all know this since you are all exposed to that body of literature. So that's what we are talking about, Vivekam. And our Tulsidas Goswami says, Vivekam comes from what we have been doing, from Satsanga. When we have positive people who are thirsty for self-improvement, self-expansion, self-discovery come together, we call it Satsanga. The combined search for exploring the truth as it is. So our Tulsidas Goswami says, Binu Sat Sang Vivek na hoye, Rama Kripa Bina Sulabh na soye. It is by something which is apart from our agency, which brings all of us together. If you look at each other in this Zoom call, we come from very varied backgrounds. We can't even imagine how we all came together as a satsang. We can actually imagine a chain of events which brought us together, but on a very global look, in a very spiritual look, it is by Rama Kripa which brings all of us together to discuss about things which are beyond the pale of our mundane existence, where we say, raise our head above daily trifles. Rabindranath Tagore's lovely words, which is etched permanently inside. He says, my father raised my head above daily trifles, which means Roj ka janjat. Let me raise my head above Roj ka janjat and think about life, think about what I am doing, where I am going, which I think is very important for us to make this lovely journey of life more joyful and purposeful. So we have come to Vivekam, responsibility. So I have brought till the place where we understand what Vivekam is. It is ability to respond, ability to make choices, which means giving a small hiatus, a small pause. When there is a stimulus coming before me, instead of just jumping to action, I employ my ability to respond and choose possibly various actions I can take to face this stimulus, face this challenge, and I call it responsibility, which is what is called Vivechanam or Vivekam in our spiritual literature of Sanatana Dharma. Very close. What I talked about in our short video is, do we take responsibility for our feelings? And what are those feelings? You see, generally if you see, Vedanta does not pamper us about feelings at all. It is all kept in a corner. You don't see too much of inquiry into feelings and emotions in Vedanta at all. It just happens. It's in the corner. Because Vedanta realizes that feelings are nothing but reflection of a need. So when a need is met, I have positive feelings. What I call positive. Feelings are feelings. I gave it color. I call it positive feelings, negative feelings, etc. When a need, whether I am aware or not, is not met, then I experience what is called as a negative feeling. Almost in all fields of spirituality, they insist that every feeling has a purpose. There is nothing vestigial or wasteful or unnecessary for every feeling, because these feelings are the ones which actually indicate to us a future course, because the feelings reflect whether our needs are met or not. You see? So I give a small lecture, metaphorically, and somebody comes and says, it was a fantastic talk you just gave. I feel happy. If you probe a little further, why am I happy? I'm happy because there is an unspoken need, maybe even I don't know much about or I have not explored it, of a general appreciation, acknowledgement and acceptance of people around me. And when that need is met in form of an appreciation or a recognition, I feel happy. Suppose I give a very good lecture and nobody ever comes in and says it was a fantastic lecture. I feel a little sad. I metaphorically, you see, don't take it literally. I feel a little sad. Now the sadness is indicating to me that when I talk or when I do something, I have a need for a recognition, acknowledgement, appreciation of what I did from others. You see, that's a discovery for me. Otherwise, I would never know it. The intensity of the feeling shows me the intensity of the need, right? Suppose I give a lecture and I am slightly irritated, nobody ever spoke to me about it. It's an indicator to me that it's a small need. Chalta hai if you don't meet it. But if I am almost depressed, Hare, I spent 2 hours talking to these people, I researched for 1 month and I talked about it. Ek bhi nahi aaya. Ek shabd bhi nahi bola. And I can't sleep. It's a gift. Because Bhagavan, through my feelings are telling me, this need is very strong for you. So I have 2 strategies to take care of this need. Because we are in India, I can say that. I can't say that much in the West. Spiritually speaking, I can take what is called as an outward path called Pravritti Marga or an inward path called Nivritti Marga. It's a simple thing. I have a need has to be met. Only then I can be at peace with myself. You are with me, right? I can either work on this hand or I can work on this hand. Okay? I can either examine the need and find a spiritual solution to even dilute the need or get rid of that need, or I can work on a practical, sorry to say that practical is a wrong term, I can work on a worldly solution to make sure that I understand the need, I feel the need, and I work out a small plan for my need to be met. For example, after I speak, I would say, I will express my need, saying that I have spoken for 2 hours and I am not very sure if you all were with me, you were able to appreciate what I said. I would certainly be very happy if you can actually, after the meeting, come backstage and tell me what you made out of the talk. Now what I have done, I have used this side of the equation where I want my need to be met. So I express my needs so that I don't feel sad nobody ever spoke out. Or I can examine the need itself. I can examine the purpose why I am talking. Why am I doing pravachan? Is it for name? Is it for recognition? Is it for money? Is it for fame? Is it for people to like me more? Or is it my dharma? Is it my bounden duty? Or is it because I love it? So I am doing it. I can live completely independent of the acceptance of others. So that's a very, this is left, far left, marga. And expressing the need, giving forms to everybody and say, tell me, what did you like in the lecture? What did you not like in the lecture? That's the extreme form of the pravritti marga. I need to take one of these paths so that I am in peace with myself. If you are in a spiritual path, Mahatmas are constantly urging, are you ready for nivritti? Nivritti means inwards, virtual loop. Are you ready for it? Are you ready to examine your needs? Every need has a want part of it. There is a want and a need. If we are ready to examine the need without trying to take any external actions, I can find that peace, I can find that poise by diluting the need, which is, do I really need the acceptance and recognition of others? Or am I finding the joy in the act itself? You see? Adi Shankara Bhagavad-pada says in one of the Upanishads, Bhashyas, Taitra Upanishad Bhashya, the reason why people lecture should be, especially on topics of values, dharma, spirituality, etc., is for your own inner development and flowering of goodness and divinity, you talk. You see? Simple. So why am I talking? Not for others. It's for me. And incidentally, I share some ideas with others and let them also get benefited if they choose to. And that is taking action on the needs, which generally is something which is a signature of our Bharatiya Samskriti, where they don't encourage that for teenagers. For teenagers, go look at the world, fulfill all your needs, etc. Work around, be careful whether you are imagining a want to be a need, etc. Draw a line somewhere. See life. When you are ready, come back. Then I am going to ask you, examine the need. Why do you want a label here? Can't you do with a simple white cloth? Not in the start, after a person has seen the world and reasonably felt self-actualized that I think I have followed my passion and I think I am doing well, I think I have seen enough. If we are ready, then a magic happens that it takes us to a feet of a guru who helps us in the journey of the inner discovery. That's the other side of it. So here, when you have a need, make it simple. Need is fulfilled, you have a positive feeling, happiness, gratitude, joy, optimism, or whatever names you have, excitement. When a need is not met, you have the so-called negative feelings. Now, what causes these feelings? If the cause of my feelings is outside of me, I am already lost, I am a slave. My life is doomed, you see. If the cause of my feelings is something within me, then I have tremendous hope and optimism about managing my life in happiness. The cause of my feeling is always the need, which is my need. The stimulus of a feeling comes from what happens around me. The discernment is called Vivekam. The discernment is called responsibility, you see. And the non-discernment is what is called blame. Many times I have heard parents telling their child, which is completely harmless, I am not trying to overstate stuff, saying that, Bete, you made your daddy very proud. See? Or a mother saying, Betty, you made me very happy today. Sounds good, isn't it? But in that there is a small mischief. We are trying to put the child in a position where we are trying to tell the child, my feelings are caused by your actions, which may work out very well when possibly the feelings are positive, but you can't cherry pick, na? It's a package. Which means the child will look at the converse also, it will look at the opposite, ulta bhi, na? The child will think, acha, if I don't do it, it will make my mother unhappy. It will also come, na? That's what pressure is building. Don't think that we give parental pressure only by negative comments, we give parental pressure by positive comments also. The moment you see you did so well in your studies and I am very happy about it, What we are not saying is, if you don't do well in your studies, I am not going to be very happy. You see, it's a package. We may not speak it, but the communication is possibly gone. So where I am coming to is this. There is something called stimulus. Stimulus ka matlab hai, let me make it very simple. I was walking down the lanes of Vrindavan, metaphorically. And near Banke Vihariji temple, there is this Pan Puri wala with all the wonderful silos of various masala waters. And everybody is gulping gol gappe. And when I saw it, I also wanted to try it. And then, jo hona hai, ho gaya. And I am now having a alimentary problem. And I am now not feeling very well. Digestion is gone for a toss. And what do I say? Are yaar, that gol gappa wala was the problem. You see? Now, Golgappa wala is a part of the problem, I agree. He is not the cause of my problem. The cause of my problem was my misplaced need or a want or a temptation for me to have the Golgappa. Na? But the stimulus was this Golgappa wala showing all his wares in a very flashy way. Maybe even setting up his friends to, gulp the Golgappas to tempt me. All that is stimulus. The moment I mix stimulus with cause, I start the blame game and lose my humanness. You see? The same way for feelings. I talked about the body, it is true for my emotional state also. When we say that you irritate me, my servant might irritated me, my subordinates irritate me, etc., we have totally absolved ourselves of all responsibility for our feelings, started tagging it on others, when actually, yes, they are a part of the problem. I am not denying it. They are merely a stimulus or a stimuli, a trigger. Who pulled the trigger? My need pulled the trigger. You see? It's my need which resulted in the feeling. My need was not met by that person. Now it becomes a very simple problem to address because we have taken out this tangle of emotions from a problem. Emotions point out to the problem, point out to the stimulus of the problem. My need is the cause of my feelings. My need was not met by that person. Do you see the small distancing or the small hiatus? What Stephen Covey, doctor, with due respects to his wonderful work, didn't divulge or didn't even talk about is, how do I move from reaction to responding? I understand what response is. I understand what reaction is. How do I start responding more and reacting less? Is not the topic which he talked about to the best of my knowledge. This is the topic. The moment I realize the cause of my feelings is my own need, I take responsibility for the feeling. Yes, I feel sad because I wanted recognition. So next time when I start to talk, I wouldn't say, all you lowly people, you didn't even appreciate me. You made me very sad. No, they didn't make me sad. My need for appreciation was not met, so I was sad. My need was not met by them. So now I have two hands, isn't it? How do I manage my needs versus how do I make sure my needs are met by those people? Now it becomes a lesser problem for me to, in fact, it becomes a joyous problem. It doesn't become a headache problem for me, you see. It becomes a problem which I can control. It becomes a problem where the other person in all probability would be more happy to contribute to. Instead of saying, hey, you have to make me happy, people don't understand what I'm talking about. So I have to tell them. As a speaker, I have a need to understand how you have taken my talk, whether you truly appreciated the work and the effort I have put in. Can you please express that to me? Finish. Which is what I was trying to tell in that, saying that, remember, every feeling has a purpose. Was this, I think, I forgot the name of the American author. He has given 5 steps of that. I think the book is called Conscious Living, if I'm not mistaken, where he talks about these 5 things about feelings. It is taken from a Japanese, self-development program. He says every feeling has its purpose. So let's not try to, I wish I am never sad. You see, easiest way for me to reduce my sadness is sleep more. But is that what we want? We want to develop, we want to understand ourselves. Unless I discover myself fully, I cannot be truly in a state of well-being or happiness. And feelings are my compass. You see, it shows me what is my need and how much the need has been met. And helps me in understanding that the feelings which I experience are directly related to the needs I have. And now I have to manage my needs. I need to manage in such a way that either I try to reduce it by going to a higher level need, or I need to find a way and means for me to actually get it met by requesting. That's the simplest solution to this riddle of how do I manage my feelings, because feelings cannot be directly managed, because it's intricately linked with a need. And so I work on my needs and I understand my needs. And if I'm very clear about the grand purpose, if I'm very clear about my value system, this purpose and value system helps me to manage my needs. I won't use the word, I have to do this. Right? I don't believe in this. I may not be there fully, but I don't believe in this, I have to business at all. There is nothing I have to do. If I truly look at it carefully, I choose to do it given the circumstances, given my purpose, given the need, given my values. The moment I stop talking to myself in this helplessness language, which Martin Seligman has very beautifully explored in his book, Learned Optimism, I am learning to be helpless by constantly telling me, I have to do, kya karu, majboor hu. Nobody is majboor. For a given need, for a given purpose, for our given set of values, there are some actions which needed to be done. I choose those actions. The moment I stop fooling myself that I had to do something is the time when I take responsibility for myself, and my actions would be compassionate, my actions would be meaningful, and guess what? Those actions have a better chance of fulfillment. And that's what is Vivekam in a nutshell as related to our day-to-day life. Vivekam is too big. Vivekam encompasses love, it encompasses wisdom of the highest order, it encompasses spiritual strength of the highest order, Vairagyam. All the three together is Vivekam as per Bhagavatam. But here I am just trying to make it on a day-to-day basis. For a day-to-day living, Vivekam means just this: separating stimulus from cause of my feelings. Understanding that some actions which I need to do are aligned to the purpose in some way or the other. Hence, I am not a slave. I don't have to do things. I have no other option, etc. We are trying to weaken ourselves by teaching ourselves that I am helpless, I am helpless, I am helpless, I am a victim, etc. Our Sanatana Dharma clearly denounces. Our Upanishad says, Mundaka Upanishad, Hare, spiritual flowering is not for the weak. Balahinena na labhyaha. Be strong. What does be strong mean? Have Vivekam. See things as they are. Understand that acts which we do are rooted in needs, not in compulsions. It may be a higher level need. A mother may sacrifice something because she has a higher level family needs. The moment a mother or a father realizes that, no longer they will be grumbling or complaining, because the mother or father, as an adult, as a mature being, realizes that as a family unit, I am no longer just a lady or a gent in a family, I am the family. So my lower level needs as a person, I have graduated from there to a higher level need as a family unit. I can go even further as a society, as a state, as a country, you see. And that's how we elevate ourselves in higher level needs. Finally, in a very highest spiritual sense, the highest need is Atma Swarupa, not the body, not the prana, not the mind, not the intellect. So all the lower level needs of a body is eschewed because I am clear. The consciousness within me, the Atma Swarupa, the Paramatma in me is what I want to explore. So they do unimaginable things, unimaginable by a normal person who cannot think beyond body, because they are clear that the lower level body needs, lower level hunger and thirst is prana. And the lower level needs for social acceptance and people patting my back and liking me on Facebook, all that is gone. Because deep inside, my real need is the highest level need, which is sakshatkara, self-discovery, or Bhagavat sakshatkara, seeing Bhagavan, or experiencing, realizing Bhagavan, God realization. So that's what our Sanatana Dharma is saying. First step for that is, first of all, understand what my day-to-day needs are. Try to elevate slowly and understand that it is the need which gives us the feeling, and others or circumstances or things which happen around me are not causes of my feeling. My needs are. Let me understand it better. And now the problem does not become, how do I ensure this guy does not irritate me, versus how do I ensure that my need for a decent dialogue is met by this person. You see, that becomes an easier problem to solve, because the other person would also understand what is the problem which needs to be solved. What happens outside is a part of my life. I am not divorced from it. It is merely a stimulus for my feeling. My need is the actual cause of my feeling. When it is met, I give it a positive color. When it is not met, I give it a negative color. Bhagavan in Bhagavad Gita says, be equal, equanimity. In this onslaught of sukham dukkam, bhavo bhavo bhayam cha bhayameva cha, samashatrau cha mitre cha tata manapa manayoho sitoshna sukhadukkeshu samassanga vivarjitaha, says the highest expression of this knowledge, the highest realization of this knowledge is seeing sukha and dukkha in the common light. How do we see that? We see that as simply as there were some needs, it was met, and I call it sukha. There are some needs which are not met, I call it dukkha. And not all my needs can be met all the time. I understand that. I take sukha, I take dukkha as a pointer, my needs, and I am very happy and very grateful for Bhagavan for bringing this lovely system of feelings, showing me what I need so that I can make course corrections or course reinforcements, so that I realize the purpose of life. Example given is pain. At times the feelings are painful, but pain is a blessing in disguise, not that we need to experience it. For example, if my tooth is creating problems for me, there is an infection in the tooth. If I had no mechanism to point it out to me, I would never visit a dentist. Who would want to go to a dentist? So Bhagavan has put in a lovely system of pain, which is a prod, which pushes you to action, so that my body can be saved from loss of life. If it's become septic more and more and I get sepsis in my blood, I am done. So Bhagavan has put a lovely early warning system for me to point out, saying, this needs attention, dear. Your tooth needs attention. So he has put a system called pain. It helps both the patient and the doctor. If somebody goes to the doctor and says, I feel very uneasy, what will the doctor do? Unless the person says, I have a headache, I have stomach ache, I have ache in my legs or toes, etc., doctor knows where to focus on and where to put the attention on. Likewise, what is true for the body is true for the mind. The so-called painful feelings needs to be eschewed. Of course, we don't want to have painful feelings at all. But there is a purpose. It tells us where we need to act on, because it shows a need which is not met. Stronger the feeling, greater the need. Either work on the need or work on fulfillment of the need. For most of us, feelings are there for that purpose. Indication of a need. Indication of my attention to that need. Showing that drop everything else and attend to it if the feelings are strong. If I have too much of toothache, can I do anything? I can't even do kirtan. Why? Because Bhagavan is telling me through the pain, This needs immediate attention. Drop everything else, focus on this. Likewise, when people feel strong feelings, Bhagavan is telling us, this is an important need. Either address the need or fulfill the need. Don't ignore it. Only then you will be complete.